What's up, everyone? John Rettinger from Techno Buffalo here. We can put another round of rumors to rest. The iPad 2 is official and has been announced. Let's go ahead and run through what you can expect. So the Apple keynote just ended. If you see me look down, it's because I got some notes in front of me. There's a lot to run through. So let's go ahead and get started. Keynote began with Steve Jobs coming out on stage, looking very good. He came with some sort of boring announcements at the beginning. iBooks update, they've sold over 100 million iBooks. They've paid developers just about $2 billion, so App Store's obviously been a huge success for them. 15 million iPads sold in 2010. And then we got to the good stuff. The iPad 2, just named iPad 2, not iPad 2GS, just straight up iPad 2, the number 2. It's going to be powered by a new A5 chip, for those of you guys that are keeping track. The previous generation iPad was powered by an A4 chip, and then we saw that A4 chip slowly make its way into the iPhone 4, so this new A5 chip will probably make its way into next generation iPhone as well. It is dual core, as is the trend nowadays. It's going to give you 2 times faster CPUs. It's going to give you 9 times faster graphics, which is, pretty nice. The iPad 2's got front and rear facing cameras. We'll talk about that in just a minute. In addition to a gyroscope, from a size standpoint, it is 33% thinner than the outgoing generation. Weighs 1.3 pounds compared to the current, or I guess the first generation, is 1.5 pounds, so a little bit lighter. It is 8.8 millimeters thick compared to the iPhone 4's 9.3 millimeters. So of course that means it is thinner than the iPhone 4, which is already an extremely thin device. It's going to be available in 2 colors. I know you're probably laughing home because you've heard this before. It's going to be available in black and white, and the white unit will be shipping on day 1. Certainly made a point to address that. And it's going to be available on Verizon and AT&T. Both colors will be available. It is going to be just 3G, EVDO, Rev A on the Verizon, CDMA side, and just standard 3G on the AT&T side. So it's going to have the same 10-hour battery life. The iPad certainly has an outstanding battery, so that's going to continue even with the newer processor. The prices are also going to remain the same. It's going to be the same scheme for Wi-Fi versions or Wi-Fi plus 3G versions. So if you want to get the 16 gigabyte model, it's going to be $499 with Wi-Fi, or it's going to be $629 with Wi-Fi and 3G. The 32 gigabyte model is going to be $599 with Wi-Fi, and it's going to jump to $729 for Wi-Fi plus 3G. And so there's $100 price increments from each. The 64 gigabyte model is going to be $699 for just the Wi-Fi, and it's going to be $829 for the model with Wi-Fi plus 3G, and you'll be able to get yours in stores March 11th. It's going to be shipping to a ton of countries, and it's going to be coming to probably the rest of the world later on in March as well. So March 11th is the date to mark on your calendar for you iPad 2 hungry folks. And they got some kind of neat specs about it and accessories. There's going to be an HDMI video out accessory, something that the iPad 2 certainly needed. It'll output up to 1080p content, which is pretty nice. It'll work with all the existing apps, so you'll be able to use any application that you want. With full rotation support, you won't have any setup. It's going to be a plug-and-play thing. You can charge it while you're using it, and the accessory is going to cost you $39. Next, they talked about something that was kind of neat called smart covers. It's sort of a case for the iPad. It doesn't cover the back. Essentially just goes right on the front of it. It's kind of like a magnetic flap. And if you've ever used a BlackBerry, for example, and you know the cases that comes with it, when you slide it in, there's a magnet, turns it off, slide it up, it turns it on. Same concept, but the flap does similar things that the outgoing case did for the first generation. You can move it around and prop it up to view for typing. You can prop it up for watching a movie. Again, it uses all magnets. It's got a cleaning cloth sort of in it, so a microfiber cleaning cloth, so it'll also clean it as you put it on and move it. You'll be able to get it in polyurethane or leather in a ton of different colors. It's going to be $39 for the polyurethane model or $69 for the leather one. It actually is a sort of neat idea, and it's got magnetic hinges and all kinds of stuff. You see the picture, so you know what I'm talking about. So next they talked about iOS 4.3, and as I mentioned in my previous Apple rant, I was hoping for new features in iOS 5. They did not announce iOS 5, just sort of incremental upgrades for iOS 4.3. You're going to have improved Safari performance, which is always good. You're going to have some AirPlay improvements. A large announcement that really went without much fanfare is iTunes sharing, and that'll be able to access all of your iTunes content across Wi-Fi, which is kind of neat. You'll have now preferences on the switch on the side for either mute or rotation lock, so that's coming back. You can pick what you want. For the iPhone 4, only for iOS 4.3, you'll have personal hotspot access, which would be kind of nice. They also announced some new apps for the iPad 2. Photo Booth is one of the apps they announced. If you use a Mac, you're probably familiar with the Photo Booth desktop app. Very similar functionality. You get all kinds of different effects, and you can tweak images and do it in real time. It's Photo Booth, and then it works on the iPad. Next, they announced FaceTime. Not surprisingly, didn't go with the front and rear-facing cameras. You can talk any FaceTime-capable device to the iPad, so iPad to iPhone 4, Mac to iPad, or whatever other combo you can do. They also announced iMovie for the iPad, so you'll have be able to AirPlay that content right to your Apple TV. There's a ton of functionality here with iMovie. I can get into real specifics about it, but you get movie editing and some advanced movie editing right on your iPad. You can share it to multiple places, including YouTube, Vimeo, Facebook, and a few others, which is kind of neat. You do it right from the device. That's also going to be available March 11th for $4.99. They showed GarageBand for the iPad 2. It's GarageBand if you're used to the application on the Mac. It's sort of part of the iLife suite. You'll be able to sort of touch the instruments. They're going to be guitar amp effects, 250 plus loops. You're going to be able to email your AAC files. It's GarageBand. And they're evidently very proud of GarageBand. They spent a long time talking about it. Let me run through specs with you of the iPad 2, just sort of recap and let you guys know what to expect. And I got some notes in front of me for this. So you're going to get the same 9.7-inch screen. It's going to have a resolution of 1024 by 768 with 132 pixels per inch. It's going to be 3G capable, as I mentioned, this time for Verizon as well. So Verizon or AT&T, you now get a choice for your data if that's the model that you choose. You're going to get the rear camera with HD video, so it'll shoot video at 720p at 30 frames per second, and have a 5 times digital zoom. The front camera is VGA resolution. It'll also shoot video at 30 frames per second. iPad 2 is very much an evolutionary step forward. They didn't add anything that we really weren't expecting. It was very incremental, to say the least. So there's a lot of hope that perhaps, I know it's kind of super early to even start talking about this, iPad 3 may be the one that breaks the mold and sort of continues to innovate. I was hoping that we get some improved iOS stuff. I'm hoping we might even have a 4G LTE device, but Apple chose not to go that direction or couldn't go that direction for price or technology constraints. So what do you guys think about the iPad 2 as a tablet you've been waiting for? Do you think Apple is prepared to go up against, at least for probably the next year, with the current generation of tablets? So we're looking at the Zoom, the G Slate coming out, and a ton of Android 3.0 Honeycomb tablets. Are you going to go and pick up an iPad 2? I'm really curious to hear from you guys what you want to see and what you think about it. And of course, we'll be doing a full battery of reviews of the iPad 2 on launch day. I am John Rettinger from Techno Buffalo. Be sure to check out the site for all your tech news and for exclusive content. Check us out at Twitter, twitter.com/technobuffalo. All the links down below. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.